Hey guys, I just want to say first off, thank you so much for all of the support from yesterday's video. I was blown away all day watching the comments pour in on both the YouTube video and on the Reddit post I made on our vinyl, where everybody saw the situation I was talking about and had a strong opinion about it. I think pretty much all in agreement with what I was saying. It felt very powerful to have the community rally behind me as I tried to talk about what happened to me with regards to Record Store Day. And ultimately, my goal was not to just trash Record Store Day. It was to just speak out about what happened to my store and what happened to me in the positioning of my store in regards to Record Store Day. I didn't think it was the best way it could have been handled, and it seems like many of you have a lot of strong opinions that would echo that. With this channel, I've been trying to echo everyone's opinions I've been hearing, whether it's on YouTube or it's in my store, and I wanted to share the feedback that I've been getting about how Record Store Day has been declining in the eyes of the community. I didn't expect it to get almost 2,000 upvotes on Reddit and 350,000 views on the post. My first video got, I believe, 15,000 views in the first day, which for me these days is quite a bit. And I just really appreciated everybody having my back. It really does mean a lot. I've really given a lot of myself to this community over the past 10 years, and to have something like this happen and then have the community hear what I have to say and want to stand by my side, it truly means a lot. And I thought that that was going to be the end of it for now. But something weird happened today. The co-founder of Record Store Day has not responded to my initial email where I asked about why I couldn't order the titles after my rep told me that I couldn't order them anymore because I was removed as a store. However, I opened my email this morning and I saw an email from him. But it wasn't directly a response to me. Somebody had sent Record Store Day's generic email address a response after having seen my video. And I just want to also take a moment to share that my intention with this video is not for you to harass Record Store Day or the co-founder or anything like that. This is not a call to arms to blow up their inbox with all sorts of negativity. They can see on the comment section on these videos the sentiment around RSD from the community. That's enough. I'll put it on the screen here. It wasn't very positive, as many of the comments happen to not be, but this person decided to send a message, and I appreciate what they were going for with the message in terms of trying to say that they didn't agree with it. It was a strongly worded message, as you can see, but that being said, he sent that message to the co-founder. I received a response in my inbox that was massive. It was a manifesto, and it didn't directly address me. It directly addressed the person who sent them the hate message. And I was only part of the email because he CC'd me on the email. That was it. There was no direct, Matt, I would love to talk more. Matt, I apologize. There was no recognition of anything regarding my video and the fallout from it. It was literally just him responding to this one random person in which he did not respond to me for 3 weeks. And hasn't yet at all. And in that response, he refuted quite a bit of things that I think are just inaccurate based on my experience with our phone call. And I'm making this video to get ahead of that narrative because it's not fair for that to be what he believes happened after I took the time to make this video explaining my side of the story and the response from the community echoing the frustration of how this played out. It doesn't make sense to allow him to believe that this is what happened. So I'm going to go through the email that he CC'd me on, and I'm going to share my thoughts on his thoughts because yes, they have now responded, although it was just to me as an aside. Now I'd love to see what all of you think. The first thing he said was that he left a comment on the YouTube video and he shared whatever that presumed comment was, and he said it must have been deleted. I can assure you I didn't delete any comments on that video. First of all, the way social media works is that any engagement is usually pretty good if you want the video to get traction, so I wouldn't remove his comment for that reason, as well as I'm sure that many people in the comment section would have loved to have a direct comment of his to respond to share their thoughts. The comment section is full of really strongly worded opinions about RSD, and having a direct link to the co-founder in the section would have probably led to some interesting discourse at the very least. So no, I did not delete his comment. He said that I wasn't actually banned. He said that I said I wasn't going to carry the RSD titles because there were too many zoetropes, there are too many blah blah blah. That's not what I said. In the video, I expressed my disappointment with some of the kind of schlockier releases that happen on a regular basis these days, and I never said I wasn't going to order. I said I was questioning my order this year. I said my size might not be as much. On my phone call with him directly, I said I hadn't decided what I was going to do. I believe he jumped to his conclusion to be able to reinforce what he ended up doing. I've never said that I'm going to do a discount on my store instead of the RSD titles. I've always done both historically. In this supposed response, he also doubled down on the idea that if my store doesn't carry the titles and I'm on the site, it doesn't make anybody involved look good. Again, I have to also double down on the fact that not every store orders for every single RSD. And what's funny is that in the comments of the previous video, people were talking about how there's plenty of stores on the list that are still pledge stores that don't even exist anymore. They went out of business or they stopped operating in the same capacity and they still have the RSD pledge piece. So it's kind of hard to argue that. It's hard to say I wasn't banned when I went ahead and placed my order and then I was told by my rep that I could not order the titles. And I asked you via email, what's the situation here? I'd love to rectify this and get these titles into the hands of my community, and you didn't respond. He mentions that there's a regular Zoom call where record store owners can get together and talk and share their thoughts. That sounds great, and I'm sure that is an interesting thing to be a part of, but I've never been personally invited. Whatever that Zoom link is presumably buried in one of the many emails that RSD sends out with little updates throughout the year. I think that my channel, with the following it has, is probably a more vocal mouthpiece than whatever time I would have had in that Zoom call if you did want to take my suggestions seriously, which I've been putting online for over 10 years. He then wanted to talk about what Record Store Day does outside of RSD, which is the listening parties that happen at stores throughout the US. I think it's a cool idea. I've never been asked to participate. There are certain artists that have put out records that I would love to have been given the opportunity to order some distro for the listening party and get to celebrate them at my shop. But every time it's the biggest shop in my town, and occasionally one of the smaller guys gets a chance. But for me, it just feels like it's more of a handshake between the biggest shops and RSD. He then went on to talk about how if a store predominantly carries used records, it's probably not a good fit for Record Store Day. I hate to break it to you, but most stores in this country predominantly carry used records. Even he acknowledged on our original phone call that record prices have gone up significantly over the years. And a lot of the time, it's really difficult for indie stores to carry a lot of new titles when they're competing with the biggest stores in their area and Amazon and Walmart and Target and online Pop Market and CC Music and all of these entities that can price so much lower than them because they just have so much volume in comparison. So you're saying, based on that paragraph in this email response, if a store can't afford to have a bunch of new titles, they don't deserve to be celebrated in Record Store Day? I'm just a bit confused by that. He referenced me talking about how there's a lot of leftover RSD releases sitting around at stores kind of dying in the bins. And he agreed that that is an issue because RSD titles are non-returnable, but he then equated it to being the same issue as any store that orders any new record. Someone in the comment section of the previous video said that it would be more interesting if RSD would allow for returns. Because if that was the case, maybe there would be more of an emphasis on putting out more desirable titles if they had a chance of losing as well. Right now, it just feels like it can be a huge issue for the stores, and RSD just says, sorry. Every single year they hold a summer camp event. I think it's usually in New Orleans, and it's a bunch of stores getting together and talking about Record Store Day and the industry and ways to improve. He told me I'm invited to go. I've had the opportunity to go every year. It's just difficult to justify getting a ticket and a hotel room and flying into New Orleans in the dead of summer to sit amongst a bunch of other stores and try to get the same opinions across that I've been talking about with my platform that's fairly sizable for many years. It just doesn't seem like a good use of my time because it doesn't seem like RSD is willing to hear what the community has to say. I'm sure the event is great in many ways, but it feels more performative than anything else because they saw the reaction to my video yesterday and their response was to still not respond and instead send this entire message to a stranger that was filled with just inaccuracies and things that weren't true to my reality. In terms of me talking about some of the suggestions I gave, such as having a vinyl YouTube personality help curate a title on the list so they can get their audience involved and feel excited about it, he said if I want to do it, I can do it, and he'd tell me how to register a title on the list. But again, that's not really collaboration. That's more so him being like, you try to do it and maybe you'll get it on the list. That's not what people want. People want to see tangible change. And I just feel like it felt like another dismissal of an idea that could help make Record Store Day better and more interesting. And the final thing that I thought was one of the strangest things is they included, to this total stranger, and by proxy to me, a PDF full of feedback from the most recent Record Store Day from a series of maybe 100 plus record stores all around the US. Basically, the stores are saying, yes, this was a very profitable Record Store Day and these 2 titles sold the best, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the feedback seemed like it probably should have been kept personal. I'm not going to put the store on blast, but there was a store in that feedback that said, I hope some of the smaller stores in my town that don't really spend a lot on records aren't getting titles that I deserve. We should be kicking record stores out of RSD who don't spend $30,000 a year on new vinyl. Like, it was crazy to see that and also know who the store was that said that. I don't know, it just felt like that information probably wasn't meant to go to me or this stranger, but I guess he thought that would help prove his point. Ultimately, I feel like that feedback sheet certainly does not negate the absolute fervor in the comments on both Reddit and YouTube about this issue, about Record Store Day in general. And I think that if you took the time to read the comments and want to make it better by listening to the community, there's a chance to salvage it and bring it back to its former glory and make it something that everybody can enjoy. But this strange response and this kind of pointed decision-making that feels very personal at times is not the way to go about it and not the way to bring the community together. I just wanted to make this follow-up to get ahead of the possible narrative that he's gonna say that I wasn't banned and etc, etc. I think it's very clear that you made your intentions known about how you felt about me, my store, my channel, with regards to Record Store Day. And I think that a lot of the people are fairly unhappy with how it was handled. So I just wanted to share this kind of strange update. At this point, I don't really feel the urge to try to figure things out with Record Store Day. I'm just still disappointed in how they're handling all of this. I think it's important to listen to the community, not just the record stores, not just the labels, but the community of the people that support these stores. Sure, there's going to be some people that are happy with RSD and how it's handled, but you can see in 24 hours, there was a massive uproar of disappointment and a sense of wanting you to do better. And I don't think the way you're handling it is doing better. So again, I wanted to thank everybody for the kind comments, taking the time to watch the video, to share your thoughts about my RSD content over the years, to share your experience with RSD. And I'm very curious to see how this develops, but ultimately, I'm not holding my breath that it's going to be what we all want. Thanks for watching this follow-up, and of course, I'll have more videos for you coming soon. Take it easy.